If you saw the video I published a few months ago, you would have seen the first version of this sled. Since then, it's gone through a few design changes to simplify the design, make it easier to adjust to your saw, and I combined the two functions of the sleds into one sled. This new sled is available for purchase as a flat-packed kit with assembly required, and for a limited time also available as pre-assembled. This video will go through all the steps to setting up the sled to work for your table saw. This kit includes all the parts as well as all the screws and other hardware needed. We'll start with these pieces and assemble the 30-60 degree fences first. Start by applying wood glue and spread it evenly along the walls and base of the grooves. Be sure to spread the glue all the way to the edges. When inserting the fences, make sure there's enough overhang on either end, as these will get trimmed later on. Add some clamps to hold the pieces in place and set it aside as we assemble the rest of the sled. The front and rear pieces, along with the base, have pre-marked locations to pre-drill for screws. Use a 3/32 inch drill bit and drill in the center of these marks. Using a backer board will help prevent tear out on the other side. The rear piece has a mark in the center on the bottom edge. Don't drill here. This is for alignment purposes later on. Next, we need to pre-drill into the sides of the base. Using a sheet of paper, folded twice to create 3 layers, we'll slightly raise the fences. This makes sure that the base will sit flat on your saw and won't get skewed if you accidentally attach the fences below the base. While drilling these holes, make sure the edge of the fence is flush with the edge of the base. And keep in mind that the spacer should be sitting only under the fence and not the base. Before screwing it all together, it helps to get the screws started first with the fences sitting flat. The 1 1/4 inch screws are used here. These 2 screws shouldn't be put in just yet and can be left out for now. Screw the fences in while using the paper spacer. Next, we can attach this fence piece. There are 2 similar pieces. Make sure you're using the one without the hole. While clamping it in place, make sure that it's sitting flat on the base and is flush with the edge of the front piece. Pre-drill through the front piece and bottom of the base. The screws in the bottom should be set slightly deeper so they don't scratch your saw. The registration keys use a smaller number 4 screw, and the holes need to be drilled using a 1/16 inch bit. The 90-degree key is attached to the side of the sliding piece near the hole. Make sure the pocket for the hole is facing up. The key should be flush to the back and bottom of this piece. Center the 30-60 degree key on the edge of its mating piece, and pre-drill and attach it the same way as the previous key. It should be flush on the bottom and sticking up about 1/8 inch. After the glue has dried on the 30-60 degree fences, you can trim the overhang on these pieces. Set it upside down and use a fine-toothed saw against the side of the base to trim them flush. You can break the edges with sandpaper to prevent splintering. Attaching this to the rest of the sled is similar to the previous pieces. Clamp it in place so it's against the rear piece, and the left edge is flush with the left edge of the base. Pre-drill the 4 holes in the bottom of the base and screw it in with the remaining 1¼ screws. Set the screws slightly deeper, just like the 90-degree fence, but not so deep that they're sticking out through the top. Attach the 90-degree sliding key by placing a bolt through the hole. The head of the bolt sits in the pocket. Place the bolt through the track and thread on the knob. Tighten the knob firmly to ensure the bolt head has sat all the way in. Before attaching the 30-60-degree key, let's attach the runner. Center it under the sled and screw it in through the tracks in the top of the base. There are 2 thinner tracks and 2 larger ones. Screw in the runner through the thinner ones and keep it loose for now. It helps to use a screwdriver here rather than a drill to prevent over-tightening. Moving to the table saw, place the runner in the right side miter slot. Raise the blade slightly and align the mark in the rear piece with the center of the blade. Slide the fence against the side of the sled and lock it in place. Tighten the screws in the runner while holding the sled tightly against the table saw fence. You can double check for square against the blade. The last thing to do is attach the 30-60-degree key. Pass the bolts through the larger tracks, slide on the key, and thread on the knobs. Make sure the head of the bolts sit in the grooves rather than under the base. Remember, these sleds are available for purchase and are linked in the description. With your sled set up and ready to use, there's a few different types of grids you can make, and I cover them in detail in the previous sled video. The sleds are slightly different in that video, but function almost exactly the same. That video is linked here as well as in the description. Thanks for watching.